Hi, everyone. I'm excited. Someone's going to come on with me today. I'm going to wait till everyone kind of comes in. I have not had a sip of my coffee yet. I don't know if I did a good job or if it tastes good. I put a lot of stuff in my coffee. I was not paying attention, so hopefully it tastes good. It's very hot, but it does taste good. First time of the live. I'm very excited today to talk about mental health awareness, access to therapy and counseling. I'm going to bring Tori on to talk all about it, but wanted to give a little introduction before I bring her on. Thank you guys again. I will always say this for submitting your thoughts, ideas, wanting to come on. There's a couple other people. I have some more ideas. It's always kind of a scramble to try to figure out what to talk about and who to bring on. But I'm very excited to talk about mental health. I know it would be more suiting to do it during Mental Health Month, but what I'm realizing is like, why wait till May? We all are struggling with mental health at different times in our life or about different things in our life. So I think it's really important to touch on it whenever we can have the opportunity, because someone out there might need to hear all of this right now. As everyone knows, I'm very big into therapy. And very into talking about mental health and what we need individually to do and how we can help those around us. So I'm excited to talk to Tori. I'll start with a little thing about mental health and what it's defined by. Is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the normal stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn and work well, and contribute to their community. It is not merely the absence of mental illness, but a positive state of psychological, emotional, and social functioning. That's mental health. So I just think it's so important. And I think all of us, especially maybe there's a part of it after the new year where we all set these New Year's resolutions, right? These goals of how the year is going to go. And now we're in the second month of the year. And sometimes those things that we thought we were going to do have already not happened. And a lot of people can be really hard on themselves and beat themselves up about that. So for anyone out there that's struggling with that, go easy on yourself. Give yourself some grace. Okay, I'm going to find Tori to chat with Tori. Let this coffee cool down. There you are. I accept it. It always takes a little bit of a second. Hi,
Good
Tori.
morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I feel honored to be here. How you doing?
I'm honored to have you to talk about such an important subject matter. Where are you in the
Yeah.
world?
I'm in Texas in the Dallas area.
Okay, and how's the weather there right now?
Right now it's like our fake spring season. So we had
Okay.
ice storms a couple weeks ago and now it's pretending to be warm. We'll
Okay.
see if it actually sticks around.
Stays. But you know what? Pretending to be warm for a little bit, I think you're like, I'll take that.
Very much so, yes.
Let me see. I want to see if I can turn off the comments just while we're talking. There
Yeah.
we go. Because I know they can be distracting. I don't know. Can you see the comments on your end too?
I think now that you've turned them off, it turned
Okay.
off for me too, so we're
Because
good.
it can be distracting, which I know. So it's like it's hard to like as great as sometimes the stuff comes in. I have a
Yeah.
list of questions people submitted, so I'll ask those as
Awesome.
well. But I would love to know. You said you're going to school for counseling, correct?
Yeah, I'm currently getting my master's in clinical mental health counseling. I'm in my second year now. So
And what made you want to get into counseling?
yeah, I this is a second career for me technically.
Ah,
I graduated with my undergrad about 6, 7 years ago now,
okay.
and did some various things, and then realized that it wasn't quite what I wanted. And I've had so many people in my life just kind of share their life stories with me. I was an academic advisor at a college university for 2 years, and those students would come in, and yes, they're there to get their classes figured out, but also would then be like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this thing," or "I don't have any friends," or "I'm feeling depressed," and I was there to listen to their stories. And so it was just a lot of little things over time. And then my own mental health journey have struggled with depression and anxiety since high school is when I really probably started struggling with it. Didn't realize it until college, until I had a roommate drag me to the counseling center when I was really struggling and going through some suicidal ideation and other things. And that counselor at that college really changed my life and opened me up to the world of therapy. And so I want to be able to help others out there make a difference in their lives, because therapy It is so important. Everyone needs to be in therapy. It doesn't matter if you have big problems, small problems. I think everyone should be in therapy. And unfortunately, it's not as accessible as I would like for it to be. But yeah, so now currently getting my master's in it. Got a couple years left, but my partner is actually also a full-time therapist. So we're a big therapy family over here.
How do conversations go between the two of you? Like when
It's
there's like,
it's very much, yeah, you can tell that when we get into therapy mode, it's like we'll have our normal conversations and, then we'll have a disagreement about the dishes or whatever. And it's like, okay, now we're switching into therapy mode and you can very clearly see that switch. And sometimes I have to be like, hey, I love you. I don't need my therapist right now. I just need my girlfriend. So we're usually pretty good at catching each other, but it's great because our communication is amazing.
do you feel that's one of the most positive things that comes from therapy is being able to verbalize your emotions and feelings better?
Absolutely. Yeah. The tools that therapy gives you to be able to just talk about your feelings, talk through what's happening. Because yeah, before therapy, I didn't have those tools. So I didn't know how to put words to what I was feeling, which makes the struggle a lot harder. Whereas once I've gained those tools, I'm able to communicate with others and be like, hey, I'm really struggling with this specific thing right now. This is what I need you to help me with. And that really, it makes a world of a difference.
And now taking it back, which I agree completely, but I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure I get, and taking
Yeah.
it back a little bit, what was your undergrad for? Because I'd love to know a little bit too about more about you.
Yeah, my undergrad was actually in religious education. So I grew up in a very Christian household,
Wow.
decided to go, wanted to be a worship leader full time, and did a year internship there and experienced a lot of hurt. Had a very, very traumatic experience in my internship. Just terrible people, terrible communication. It was a rough time, but it ultimately led me to pivot into what I needed to be doing. It was also hard because I was the COVID year is when I started my
Wow.
internship. So trying to figure out how to navigate the world of work amidst COVID was an experience in itself. But yeah, I was religious education with a theater concentration actually. So I'm a theater kid at heart as well.
I love to hear that as the underbelly of it all too. You're like, and
Yes.
theater is the thing that I love.
Yes. Yeah. The communication, the being on stage, performing, that's all part of it, which is kind of in the therapy space as well. Like, yes, I'm much more listening, but it's communication, it's talking to people, it's being in rooms with people.
And listening too. I mean, I will
Yeah.
say theater is so much of listening to the other person talk as well.
Yes, very much so.
And you said why you switched in counseling. You brought up something that's I feel like not talked a lot about, which is suicidal ideation. You brought that up
Yeah.
so effortlessly, which was great to hear because I think so many people don't hear that enough. That it's it's common,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, very
From your
much so.
perspective. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those people are afraid to say the word suicide because they think if
Yep.
they talk about it, it's going to cause people to think about it more. But the
Mhm.
more that we talk about it, the more we normalize the fact that people struggle with it, the better we're able to have conversations about it and the better we're able to help people with it.
It's so true to hear it that way too,
Yeah.
because I could understand like it does feel like it's kind of the word you don't say, it's the thing you don't talk about. Or do people feel like it's a weakness if they mention that they even had thoughts of it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the stigma is still around mental health as much as we like in the past 5, 6 years, especially since COVID, have talked more about mental health. There's still such a stigma around it, like, okay, well, this is my personal thing. I don't want to talk about it. Nobody
Mhm.
needs to know about it. And then you just get into that kind of shame spiral of things, and that only makes the problems worse.
Are you still working with people of like college age, or are you working from with, or are you still in school so you're not fully working with people yet? Like, what is? Tell me, sorry, tell me the lay
Yeah,
of the land
no,
for you right
so
now.
fair. Yeah, so I'm definitely still in school. I'm not seeing anybody yet. I'll start having actual clients starting in the fall, I think is when my like current schedule is.
Okay.
And so we do like a practicum for a semester and then a full year internship. But college students are my passion. That's the age range I love to work with. It's such a tumultuous time of life of so much life transition. It's the first time on your own for a lot of people. And even if you're not in college, still just that like 18 to 25 time of life,
Ugh.
there's so much that happens. And like, there's so much to try and figure out. So I'm really passionate about helping people in that age range. So that's the goal, is to work with college age students and even also like non-traditional students,
Mm.
those that are coming back to school later in life. A lot of my classmates now are actually like moms, very much like second, third career. They were some of my favorite people to hang out with.
I love to hear that, and it's so necessary. I will say thank you for wanting to take that on because I remember myself going into the counselor's office at the community college, like bawling my eyes out because I just couldn't figure it out. Like I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know how to juggle it all. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do this. I can't do that. I need help.
Yeah.
And that guidance is so, so beneficial. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
um, I'll ask some questions that people submitted. Is there
Okay.
anything else you wanted to say before I start asking questions?
No, I'm
Okay.
all for it. This is so cool. I love doing this. I love talking about
I'm
mental health. I think the more we talk about
same.
it, the more normalized it becomes to talk about it. And it's like you said, going into your counselor's office in community college, not knowing what the heck is going on, like more people need to do that. You don't have to go to therapy knowing why you're going to therapy. Just go to therapy. If you like find the access and get to therapy.
And I've really realized that the hardest step is going. And I find a lot of people's reason, I don't want to say excuse because I feel like they're really trying, but like reason to
Yeah.
not go is because they're like, well, what if I don't like the therapist? Or
Then
what if I
find a
don't
new
know what to
therapist.
talk?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm always like, then you go to the next one. And they're like, but I wasted
Exactly.
time. And I'm like, but it's important time. It's like,
Yeah.
and you might love that therapist.
Exactly. You don't know until you try.
Yeah, and those first conversations, it sounds like, as you know, and I know, are never easy. Like, and I feel
No.
like sometimes they're very superficial. You're like, so this is my life story. I was born at this
Hmm.
age. And then by
Yep.
session, what, 10, you're bawling your eyes out and saying all the things. So,
Yes. Or if you're like me, it's session 2, and then you're like, all right, and here's my life story, and I'm gonna cry about it while we're doing
oh,
it.
I love that. I love that you were able to do it by session 2. It took me a while, but now I've had
It's
the same
okay.
therapist for so long that, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I'm going to ask some questions. I won't get
Yeah.
sidetracked. Let me make sure it's not something we already answered. What have you found most rewarding during the process of going to school for
Ooh.
counseling?
That's a good question. I think the validation of knowing that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
My very first semester, we took a basic skills class where it was just us doing kind of mock sessions with our peers, which not a lot of schools or a lot of programs have you jump into actually doing sessions in the first semester.
Interesting.
Um, so sometimes it just they wait until later. You got to get your like theory and that kind of stuff first. But that first semester dove right in. I had a peer that I was their mock counselor for, and just that very first session, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, I am here. I can tell that they feel comfortable in the room because I am helping them feel comfortable. And yes, it was a mock session. They weren't necessarily bringing all of their, heavy actual trauma to session, but still, we were able to make a lot of progress in the 6 weeks that we had together.
Hmm.
And it's really rewarding as a counselor being on the other side, like getting to watch someone realize more about themselves, feel comfortable in their own skin, and like see them making progress towards a better self.
Do you feel you have that's something that you were kind of born to do, or you have this gift to be able to listen to and talk to people? Does it feel like
Yeah.
it's just a place?
It's very much like I said, I've always had that kind of thing where people just come up and they'll start telling me their life stories. It could be
Mhm.
like the random person next to me in the grocery store, or I worked at Disney for a year, and so a
Ah.
lot of people would like stand in line and they were telling me their life stories. I'm like, yeah, we're here for this reason, or like this traumatic thing happened. And I'm like, cool. I'm just here. Like, I've never met you before, but that's the kind of face I have, and I love it. I love being able to hear people's stories and getting to know more about them, even if it's only like I see them one time for 5 minutes and I never see them again.
Yeah.
It's so cool to me just to get to know more about people. Like, I always say, kind of my purpose in life is to love others well,
Oh, I
and for me,
love that.
that's just listening to other people. Like, that is a way we can love others, is by listening to their stories.
Oh my gosh, I'm taking that with me forever. One of the ways we can love others is by listening to their stories. It's so true.
Yeah,
It obviously, to give yourself more credit, is that it sounds like you're very approachable and you're very non-judgmental. Because
try
I
to be
think
anyways.
those things have to exist in order to be someone that you feel comfortable talking to. So I just feel like
Yeah.
I'm even picking up on that. I'm like, okay, let's keep talking about everything.
Great,
I love
let's
it.
go.
Um, that you wish. Oh, what's one thing about mental health that you wish more people spoke about?
Ooh,
I know there's a lot, but is there one that's like, I wish they talked more about this?
yeah, yeah, there is a lot. I think, hmm, I think two things come to mind. One is just kind of the lack of access that exists in the
Mm.
world. Obviously I'm in the US, so like that's what I know the most about. And like the lack of access, still the like lack of insurance companies that will provide access. And like the more risk factors you have against you, the more like your mental health is potential to be a struggle. So like minorities and people who have experienced like heavy trauma, the LGBTQIA plus community is like twice as likely to experience some sort of mental health issue in their life. And so, like, the access that these minority communities don't have to mental health is making the problem even worse. And so that's why, like, it's so important to be an advocate for mental health, to talk to others about it, to do what you can in like local elections, to support organizations that are really actually making a difference for things. I think is huge. And then the other thing that I think more people should talk about is the protective factor side of things. Of yes, therapy is huge. Being able to afford a therapist and get to go see them on a regular basis is incredible and important. And there are other things that are protective factors for your mental health outside of therapy too, like having a strong community around you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, whatever that community looks like that truly supports you, that you can talk to about things. Um, Having like your basic needs taken care of, being able to have like a hobby that you're passionate about or work that you're passionate about, like those things that bring joy to your life are really important in those moments of mental health crisis. Being able to go and focus on those things, find those things, reach out to those people, can make a world of a difference.
Now, as we know, when we're in those really dark places, it's hard to do those things, right? It's hard to go and like
100%.
figure out the things. So what advice would you give someone, I guess, when they're not going through a tough time, like to be able to find, because sometimes I struggle with like how to tell people, like find the thing that you love, journal, right? Like it's
Yeah.
hard sometimes to give that
Oh,
advice when you're like,
yeah.
I don't know what's going to speak to you. But like, so how do you tell people go after, or when do you figure out what it is? Because I can understand that. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling on it because it's
No,
like
you're good.
I struggled with being, just to give my story. So I'm trying to explain the question is like, I struggled obviously being a child actor and doing that my whole life. All of a sudden, one day someone's like, well, what do you like to do in your spare time? And I was like, I don't know. They're like, what are your
Yeah.
hobbies? And I'm like, I don't have any. And it took me a long time to figure out the things that brought me joy or the things I needed. But how do you advise people out there to do those things? It's probably
Great
different per
question.
person.
Yeah, it's definitely different per person, and it's something that like I still struggle with too. Like
Mm.
I'm in that young adult, early adult phase now. I'm like, what do I do outside of school and work? Like trying to find things that bring me joy. Um, Something that just comes to mind is like going back to like what you liked as a kid,
Mm.
which is harder for you when you're like a child actor, and that is you're working so young already. But finding those things that you loved as a kid, whether it was like you loved doing crafts, you loved playing games, you loved music, finding
Yeah.
those like small, easy things, so that when you're in those darker places where it is harder to do things, the easier thing that you can find are so helpful. So like for me, music is my safe place. And
Mm.
so when I'm struggling, even if I'm just putting on music and listening to it, like that can help me shift my mood enough to get to a place where I can do something. Um, so yeah, finding hobbies is hard. Um, Nobody tells you that, especially about adulthood, is that like finding friends, finding community, finding things to do when it's not automatically built into your schedule is
Mm.
harder than it should be. But I think trying to find like start small, and you can try something and you can not like it. That's okay. You can try crocheting and realize I actually hate this. Great, try something new.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. And I think that's give like some grace to yourself about like try stuff and it may not. Because I feel like I tried stuff and I was like, I don't have a green thumb, I can't grow vegetables, and then I was like upset with myself. But it's
Yeah,
trying to find those things. But music is such a great one that you bring up because it's free for the most part. You can
exactly.
go and listen to music almost anywhere. There's so many accessible places for music that really are free. So that's a really great one. What are your thoughts on things like journaling and meditation, even?
Love it. Yeah. I think some people, it really works for them to be able to, like, I love to do a brain dump of, hey, I'm going to just take a
Mm.
quick 5 minutes and, like, I just need to get my thoughts out onto a piece of paper, even like the notes app on my phone of just getting everything out of my brain really helps.
Yeah.
So I think journaling is great. It's also nice because then you can, like, go and reflect back on things later and be like, wow, I have come so far since a month ago, a year ago, whatever it is. Meditation is also great, really just being in your body, kind of trying to get rid of the outside world for a minute and really trying to focus on what you're feeling in your body, what, like, yeah, just finding that peace within yourself. Because I think, yes, community is important, but I've also struggled to a place where I've been so reliant on other people to help me
Mm.
in dark times that when they weren't available, it made things worse. So finding those things where you can rely on yourself, whether it's meditation, journaling, those hobbies, those self-care, whatever that may look like for you, finding healthy ways to get out of that kind of stuck part of your brain is really important.
I love that we're kind of the juxtaposition of us two, because I was someone who could never rely on, I felt like I couldn't verbalize myself to people. I could never
Mm,
reach out to people. And my friends even would say, like, you can call me, like you can. And I had to learn, because my go-tos was always
mm,
journaling, was always meditation, was working out, because I felt I
mm-hmm.
needed to solve this on my own. And what's beautiful is, like, I've learned, and my friends have actually embraced it, is like reaching out to them makes us feel like we can all talk about our stuff, because everyone's got stuff going on.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
it's beautiful that yours is the kind of the reverse, which is you always
Yeah,
felt you could talk to people, and now you're having to learn the opposite. So for anyone out there,
yeah,
it can be in different versions, which
yes,
I hope gives people some comfort that, like, whatever your path is,
yeah,
you will figure it out.
absolutely.
Let me see. Let's see. What are the most common misconceptions people have about mental health?
That you're alone in it, that you're the only person struggling with it. 1 in 5 adults struggle with mental health. And
That still seems like not enough. I feel
right.
like it's
But it's, if you think about it, it's 1 in 5 that they've, studied, that they have the
yeah.
statistics on. It's probably a lot higher than that. But like, you are not alone. So everybody goes through it at some point, in some capacity, at some level. Um, it's, I don't think I've ever encountered a person in my life that I've like talked to on a frequent enough basis that hasn't experienced a mental health struggle at some point in their life. So, um, yeah, it's, you are not alone. It is way more common than you think. Um, and keeping it to yourself is not a helpful thing. You don't need to struggle on your own. Reach out to people, reach out to a therapist, get the help that you need, that you can, find the resources that you can.
For someone that might be going through that right now and trying to reach out to somebody, what would be like a mock scenario that they could reach out to somebody? Like, how could they start that sentence? Because I think sometimes saying those first words are the hardest things. Like, what
Yeah.
advice would you say? Like, reach out to that person and say, what could you say? I know it's just
Yeah.
your opinion and my, like, but like, what could it? Because you also don't know the person, like, out there. What's
Right.
kind of like a mock thing they could say and
I think
practice?
just being honest, like I know it can be hard, but just being honest enough to say, hey, I'm struggling with something. I think I could use a friend right now.
Mm.
Just keeping it simple. You don't have to tell them your deepest, darkest secrets. You don't need to tell them everything going on in your brain, but just saying, hey, I'm struggling and I need help. Asking for help can be hard. I get that. And you got to do it. Like that's the only way you can actually get to the other side is if you reach out and ask for help.
What if they don't know what that help looks like? Like, I'm saying I need help, but then someone goes,
Yeah.
how can I help? Do they need to kind of have an idea of what that looks like? Like, is it going on a
Oof.
walk? Is it, I just need a hug? Like, what do they
Yeah.
need to come up with that? Because I feel like if someone came to me and said, I need help, I would be like, how
Cool.
can I
With what?
help you? Yeah. In
Yeah.
what way?
Yeah, I think help looks different for a lot of people, and you might not know what it is right away. I think it goes back to, again, that like trial and error a little bit
Mhm.
of, yeah, you might not have the answer right away of, I know I need help in this fashion of, yep, I need a walk or I need a hug or I need you to help me find therapy. Um, but I think just starting somewhere and just starting with a conversation can be helpful. And yeah, I think thinking back to like what feels helpful to you when you're not stuck in those dark times
Yeah.
and trying to bring that into this, okay, I'm struggling right now. Okay, I know that this helps me when I'm not struggling. Will that help me in this moment as well?
Yeah. Play that music you love, play that movie you like say
Yeah.
something that can put a smile on your face, basically.
Yeah.
What would you say for those that do ask for help and it's received with someone saying no? Which I know, I feel like in my experience and probably yours, usually when
Yeah.
people reach out for help, someone is there to help, but that's not always the case for everyone. What if
Yeah.
somebody asks for help and someone refuses to give them what they need?
Yeah, it happens. It sucks when you're on the receiving end of that no. I think the person saying no that they can't help is it can be very brave and can be them setting the boundary of like, hey, I understand you need
Mm,
help and I can't offer that to you. Um,
perspective.
yeah, it could be a variety of situations, but I think also the internet exists.
Mm,
You know, self help on the internet is take it with a grain of salt, but at least there's a lot of places where you can find resources like actual bona fide scientifically proven resources to be able to get you some help that you may need if you don't have that community around you right now. Being able to see, yeah, if you have insurance or if you like can find a therapist in your area that's affordable. Um, Looking for some of those like meditation things online. Just the internet has a wealth of knowledge. Be careful and cautious in the way that you're searching the internet because sometimes you have your TikTok therapists, which aren't licensed therapists, and they're not necessarily providing the best
oh,
information, but it
geez.
can at least
Yeah.
get you somewhere and get you something and hopefully start it on the right track.
Okay, that's really great advice. And the perspective of someone might be saying they can't help because at that moment in their life, they're just not, they don't have the capacity
Yeah.
to really be able to give that to. Because that happens too. Friends call and they're like, I'm going through a tough time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going through a tough time too. Like, I can't, I don't have
Yeah.
the bandwidth to like show up in that way. So that's a
Yeah.
really good perspective too. That's it. Because I think a lot of times when someone says they can't help us, we take it personally right off
Oh,
the bat.
yeah.
And
I'm very
it's
much guilty of that too.
and it's hard not to, right? It's hard
Yeah.
not to go like, what do you mean you can't help me right now? I need you. And,
Yeah.
and then, so I love that perspective. And I love that you said like the internet, YouTube. I was thinking, the first thing that popped in my mind is even like yoga classes on YouTube. Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, even if you're not good at yoga, which I'm not, like, I'll be like, oh, a yoga class would really just like get my mind off of whatever's happening right now. So,
Even if I'm just
right.
watching it in the background, not actually doing the yoga, at least it helps.
See, even that. Sometimes it's just having it there. It's so
Yeah.
true. Um, let's see. We've covered so many things. I'm trying to make sure I'm not being repetitive with the questions. What is the best way to support your mental health in the work setting?
Ooh, yeah. The work setting, I'm one that work can be hard and work, especially like the corporate world, things like that, you get bogged down and kind of tied into it. I think still finding those supportive factors at work
Mm,
as best you can. If you're able to find at least one friend at work that can dramatically improve your mental health in the workspace. I understand not everyone can do that or has that ability depending on what kind of work you're doing. But I think finding those little self-care things that you can do while at work, whether it's listening to music, if you have your little like fidget toys to just kind of get you out of your brain.
yeah.
Um, just like there's small things that you can do in the workspace, and then also a lot of workspaces now um, offer employee assisted programs where
Mm,
they will offer therapy through your employer. So check your employee benefits as well and see kind of what things that they offer. If you're noticing that like a lot of people in your area are struggling, maybe that's a chance for you to start a group of
mm,
a community of some kind of just say, hey, let's all go get lunch together and realize, hey, none of us really have friends here. Let's all try and be friends and find that community there. Find people that are passionate about things that you're passionate about. Yeah, there's lots of little ways to find joy in work, even if work is not what is bringing you joy,
mm.
and protecting your mental health in that space. It can be hard when you're being bogged down by deadlines and all the work and the capitalism of it all. But finding those little moments to bring you joy, I think, is important.
And I feel like nowadays it's like try not to be fired. Like everything's like you have to go above and beyond because God forbid
Yes.
everybody's job is on the.
Yeah, I'm very much. I'm a supervisor myself, and I always tell my employees it's about a life work balance. Life comes
Mhm.
first, work comes second. Yes, you have to work to live and pay the bills, and I get that. And if you're not enjoying your life, if you're not actually living your life, then what is the point of it all? So you are a human first, you're an employee second. So keep that in mind when you're, especially on your hard days of like, yes, we're here, we're doing a job, I have a deadline to meet, and I'm still a person, so treat me like a person. Don't be afraid to set those boundaries and stick up for yourself too.
I love boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
They're
They're
such a good.
hard.
They're so hard. That's the thing. I think I have a couple things that came up when you were saying that, but that is one thing that I find, let me know if you agree, like that boundaries are probably the most important factor I learned in therapy.
Yeah.
And everyone around me, I'm always like, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. It's okay, set boundaries. But it's interesting when you're on the receiving end of someone setting boundaries, which we talked about earlier. At first, you're like, wait a second, I don't like
You,
this.
yeah, you can't have boundaries. I
Wait,
have the
no.
boundaries. You don't. No thanks.
And then
Yeah.
you have to take like the look inside and you're like, no, no, we're setting our
Hmm.
mutual boundaries. Wait, so there's two things that came up for me during that. Oh, I want to just mention some of the community-based things that it's such a great thing you brought that up is I have friends that have started like weekly on the weekend, like, sorry, it's once a month cooking get-togethers.
I love
So
that.
one person in the group picks a cookbook, lists a couple of recipes from the book, like 20 recipes, and then this, 6, 8 people, whoever decides to do it that month, pick which recipe they want, and then they come together with the things they cooked, and they all get to sit around and eat the food and talk. I know I have a small group of friends that we do. There's discount Tuesday and Wednesdays at the movie theaters, so we'll
Yep.
like go to the movie theaters on that day, watch whatever movie as a group of girls, and like
Yeah.
get to laugh and talk about life. And it's interesting. I will say, as these groups start, and they do start to expand because people go, "Oh, I need that in my life. I want to try that out. I need to be
Hmm.
a part of that." And it's a really beautiful thing to see that it starts off with 2 people and it becomes 8.
Yeah.
And if anyone out there, like, if look around and see, does you know anyone that's doing these little book clubs, cooking classes, cooking get-togethers, watch a movie night,
Yeah.
because we all
Yeah.
need it. So I think do you have anything like that in your life that you do
Yeah.
personally? Yeah.
Yeah, no, my partner and I, we actually do game nights with our neighbors. We put
Yeah.
out we put out
Yeah.
candy at Halloween one year, and we have
Yeah.
like our little camera on the front door, and we saw one of our neighbors came by, they got candy. We also had cat toys out and they brought their cat. And so we were like, we need to be friends with them. So we put out a little note and was like, hey, like whoever brought their cat on Halloween, please be friends with us. And we've started doing like weekly game nights now. They live 2 doors down from us and we hang out, we do
I
game nights, and then
love
that's grown and
that.
we have more people do game nights with us now. So yeah, we gather together, play board games, and talk about life and whatever it may be. And it's nice because now have like cat sitters for each other. Like we've built friendship based on just like we put out candy in our apartment complex.
And left a little note. Like
Hmm.
that's it. Just all it took was like putting yourself out there to be like they might not respond, they might not
Yeah,
react, but let's just put it out there.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
I really love that. I love to hear that. And I love
Yeah,
that like that can be a source of that community we talked about, where then you have a group of people that you can say, hey, I'm going through this. Or sometimes it's not about talking, right? And tell me if I'm wrong, it's not about talking about the issues, but just feeling like you're not alone at times.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Just talking about life in general. It doesn't have to be about the specific issue. You're just talking about life, and that can really help.
Yeah. Let's see. We kind of talked about this. I'm trying not to be too repetitive. What's the best what best can you support? How best can you support a friend who may be struggling? I think
Yeah.
we kind of talked about that.
Again, it's what you are comfortable with and what your bandwidth is, but being
Hmm.
comfortable enough to say, "Hey, just I'm here for you." Um, just showing up for them, I think is important. Sorry, my partner is trying to get to work and they're asking for stuff over here.
It's okay. Do you need to take a second? You're
No, we're
okay.
good. We're all good.
Okay.
But yes, I think just showing up for them, just being a body in the room.
Yeah.
It does. You don't have to have the answers. You don't have to solve their mental health problems, whatever it may be. You don't have to solve everything. I think just showing up and being there for them really can make a difference. And like some people literally just need a body in the room. You don't have to talk. You don't have to say it. They just need a body double. They just need somebody to sit with them as they're going through it.
What is that saying? And I heard it recently, oh, it's kind of in the same vein of, do you need advice or do you need someone to listen to? But it's also like
Yeah.
someone just said it, it was 3 H's. Like, do you need a hug?
Oh,
Do you need a hug? Do you need help? Help, hug, and like one other thing. And it was like a really cool way. Okay, so you haven't, I just
I
heard
haven't
about it
heard
for the
that either.
first
That
first
sounds,
time. Someone
yeah.
said it, and I wish I remembered the third one, but it's basically help, obviously advice, a hug, if that's all you need is a hug. And then there was one other one.
Hug helper here
Here.
is the internet.
Thank you. It
Yes.
was the best thing I heard, because before it's
Yeah,
always
I
like, hey,
love
what do you
that.
need? Do you need to vent to me or do you need me to give you advice? And the hearing hug, help, or hear was such a great way, because so anyways, putting that out into the universe.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like, sometimes that's great when a friend comes to you to be like, do you need a hug? Do you need help? Or do you need just me to hear you?
Yeah,
Um,
I think asking that is so important because being the person that I am, tend to jump into help mode and fixer
Same.
mode of like, okay, you say you have a problem, let me fix it. But like, that's not what everybody needs. Sometimes, like, that's something that like my partner and I talk a lot about is like, okay, do you need solutions in this moment, or do you need me to just listen while you vent it out? And
Yeah.
sometimes they just need to vent it out and then they're fine. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, so asking that question, hug, help, or hear. I love that alliteration. I think that's super helpful. I'm stealing that for sure.
Yeah. Alliteration is one of those things, right? That like the second you do it, you're like, oh, it's even
Yep.
better. I like the sound of that. Let's go back to talking about access to therapy. So we obviously know
Yeah.
the system in the United States. You know the system in Texas, like with access, which at least in the United States, is quite difficult at times.
Yeah.
How are you best telling people to access therapy in the ways they can in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Because we can't really, I can't talk about. I mean, maybe you have more knowledge. I don't know how it
Yeah,
is accessible in
I
other
have
countries.
minimal knowledge elsewhere as well. I definitely know mostly about the US. And yeah, it's access is hard. There's so many factors to it. I mean, there's the insurance side of things where not everyone has insurance, then insurance is expensive. You have the counselor side of things where we need to get paid for the work that we're doing. And if I could do therapy for free, I would. Like,
Yeah.
if I could offer therapy to everyone for free, I think the majority of therapists would out there. But we also have to earn our own living. So I think, yeah, access is hard. Being where we are as a society, as a country, the fact that mental health is not talked of enough about, it's not taken seriously, it's not taken as a real enough issue to need the help that people actually need. Um, so I think this is the hard part is like I don't know the solutions. I'm doing
Yeah.
my best
It's
to
okay.
like be an advocate out there of like therapy is political.
Mm,
That's one of the
that's sad.
phrases I've heard, and like yeah, it's sad that it is what it is, but like what we do is political, and so like getting out there, voting in your elections, voting for people that believe in mental health, are willing to support it, supporting organizations that are making a difference, and for those that are like trying to find access to things, um, search in your area first, see what is out there. Those that are in like rural communities, like non-metropolitan areas, definitely your access is more limited because there's just a counselor shortage in general. Um,
Mhm.
but seeing what is out there, what is available to you, starting there. And if there are not people that are available to you, there are so many telehealth things nowadays.
Yeah.
That is one of the good things that came out of the COVID era is a lot of therapy spaces are able to move online now.
Mhm.
I'm much more like I prefer being in person with people, but my therapist I see virtually as well because she is in a different city than me, and I've been seeing her for like 5 years now, and I didn't want to give her up.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, seeing what kind of licensed professional help you can get, I think is really important. Because just like if you have like a physical wound on your body, like yes, you can treat it yourself, put on your band-aid, put on your Neosporin, but you wouldn't tell somebody with a broken leg to just kind of walk it off and figure it out yourself.
Mm.
Um, so same is true with mental health. If you have depression, anxiety, whatever it may be, you can't just walk it off as much as you try. There are things you can do to help yourself. There are protective factors, but at the end of the day, like licensed professional help is important. So a lot of therapists are willing to do like sliding scale side of things if the financial side of things is the issue for you. If it's you don't know where to look, again, the internet is a great place. Psychology Today is like the
Mm.
resource for people to look at to find therapists. Um, I would say probably 90+% of therapists are on there advertising themselves. So, and they're really great about being able to filter by specific areas, specific
Mm.
needs, whatever kind of population you may be looking for. So just like take that first step and try and find something. But I think as a country, we have a lot of work to do in being able to provide access to those that are not upper middle class in metropolitan areas. Um, and that's something that like I know this generation is working a lot on. It is definitely being talked about in my program, especially of like, okay, how can we like a lot of therapy is also social justice. How can we help those
Mm.
that need the help that can't get access to it? How can we create better access? So it's continuing to be an advocate for mental health, whether you're on the counselor side or on, um, getting counseling side. Just talk about it, write to your representatives, vote in your elections, make meaningful contributions where you can. And yeah.
It's so important, all of the things you said, but I'll reiterate too, like what's interesting about like if you're in school, a counselor is a good source. Like a counselor, and it's part of you're in school, so you have a counselor, whether you're in high school or
Yeah.
college. That's a really good one, like you mentioned. And then psychologytoday.com. I think that was a fantastic one you mentioned. I mean, all of it's fantastic. I'm just replaying it in my head too, to be like, okay,
Yeah.
what, um, and yeah, we definitely need work, but it's really great because I do agree. It's like so much of it is going to the polls, making a stance on the fact that it's so important,
Yeah.
because that is where really the change happens. I think it was also really important. Like people look at their, like sometimes it's not verbalized from my understanding, but look at your health benefits that you have with your job.
Yeah.
And sometimes they covered, even if they don't cover it 100%, or even it's like my therapy. So my therapy is out of network. But what
Hmm.
I did was I still get, after the deductible, I get a percentage back. It's a lot, actually. It's like
Yeah.
80% back. But you have to submit, you have to do the work, right? They make you
Yeah.
do the work. So I get the bills, and then I have to submit them. And then months later, they finally reimburse me the money that I got. So there is ways that you can figure it out, but they try to also hide it in the fine print. So unfortunately, it takes some time and due diligence to really like search for those things. But
Yeah.
and like you said, searching on the internet is so important, finding someone. So and I too have now, I just do phone because I couldn't do like I couldn't do the on the, like the
The
Zooms, and
video.
like
Yeah.
I forget what the service is called, the actual
Yeah.
company, but I couldn't do it on the thing. It was like too weird, and like
Mm.
I was staring at the therapist's face too much. So I was like, I just prefer the phone, and it's great. But again, I knew my therapist before she moved during
Yeah.
the COVID. So I also understand that the first time you talk with someone, you usually want to start with in person. And
Yeah.
then, once you get to know each other, like over the phone or over Zoom, you're like, this is great.
Yeah, it's one
Um,
of those, that face-to-face connection is so important because
mm,
there's so much that you're saying without saying it. As a counselor, like the amount of like things I can pick up from people just on their body language, the way they're fidgeting, the way they are looking in a certain moment, I'm like, oh, you're not actually believing what you're saying right now. Let's talk about that.
I've had to get better at that. Like if I start crying, like I'll try to like, I'm not crying, I'm not crying. Cause obviously in person, and then the therapist is like, so what's causing, like, where is
Uh-huh.
this coming, the whole thing. And so now I'm like, no, I have to let her hear that I'm crying. you know
Yeah.
I can't try to hide it. Oh, it just, you said fidget in a different regard, but I will say too, recently, like, because I really discovered I like fidgets. Like I feel like it just forces my brain to focus on one singular thing.
Hmm.
And recently I was like, I was stressed about something, and I had a rubber band, and I was just playing with a rubber band. So people that can't even afford, like if you can't afford fidgets, you can't find them, you don't want find one you like. I just wanted to put that out there, that
Oh
like
yeah.
I found a rubber band, and I was like playing with it for like an hour. And then I realized an hour later, I was like, wow, that really helped.
Yep.
So sometimes, it's also trying to find those things, like whether we're talking about accessibility to mental health being more easily accessible and at a better price, or it's, if you can't afford a fidget, playing with
Yeah.
something like a rubber band.
Yeah, being resourceful is a huge part of it. Of like, yeah, see what you have around you to be able to help you, see what
Yeah.
resources are available through your job, like you were saying. Yeah, like the employee assistant programs happen for therapy. A lot of insurance plans will cover it in some aspect. It may require additional work, but I know a lot of therapists too are willing to like help talk through that. Your
Mm.
benefits person at your job should be able to help explain kind of what things are happening. And sometimes even if you're willing to take, an hour to sit on hold, but if you get through to the
I
insurance
was gonna
company,
say.
sometimes like I've talked to a few insurance agents before that are actually like super helpful in explaining things. It's not always the case, but sometimes you can get through and talk to a real person and they'll be like, oh yeah, you just need to do this and submit this paperwork and then we'll do that. I'm like, great, that's all I needed. So
Yeah.
just, it may take some time, it may take some patience, and that can be frustrating in the process, but it's worth it for you to get the care that you need.
And that, I feel like, is like sitting on hold and listening to whatever horrible music they play is the most infuriating thing. You're like, it's like you're trying to get me to
Mm-hmm.
not to hang up this phone call.
Yeah,
So
you notice they never play actually any good music, or they never
never.
complete the full classical song that they're doing. It's the same, 32 bars over and over. I'm like, just finish the song, please. I beg you.
It's so true. Oh my God, I love it. We can relate to that on that too. Um, I think we covered every single question. What did you have? Um, so many people did mention how mental health has absolutely saved their life. So I just want to put that out there too, in so many ways. We
Yeah.
covered so many amazing elements of mental health. Um, I'm trying to think if there's something I'm missing on these. No, Yeah, I mean, what's your hope for the future of mental health? I mean, you kind of said it, but we'll kind of end with that. Is like, what is
Yeah.
your hope and that you of your outlook on the element, the thing of mental health? I can't figure out the word now.
You're good. I think, yeah, talk about it more, that it's not a stigmatized thing anymore. It's everybody's talking about what their mental health looks like, whether it's good, it's bad, somewhere in between. Mental health shouldn't just be talked about when we're struggling,
Mm,
that is just as important. So, yeah, I want it to be talked about more. I want the stigma to go away. I want there to be better funding and better access for things, better access, especially for our minority communities, because they're the ones that struggle the most out of things. And just that I wish everyone could be in therapy. That's what I want. Truly, like, end goal, world peace. I want everyone
mm.
in therapy because I think everyone needs to be in therapy. There's so many generational trauma things we could break by parents going to therapy, grandparents going to therapy. But it starts with us. It starts with you right now, taking that step and being like, hey, even if I don't feel like I'm extra struggling or whatever it may be, reach out, get some help, if you can. Find the resources that are available to you, and talk about it with anyone and everyone who will listen.
I love that. This has been an absolute joy getting to talk to you. Thank you so much for wanting to come on and talk about all this.
Yeah,
But more importantly, thank you for getting into the industry of mental health and counseling. And I'm so excited for all the lives you're going to help and change, especially at that very, very impressionable age of the 18 to 25 range, which we all know is so hard.
yes.
Um, so thank you. I'm saying thank you to every single person that you're going to help out there. Like I thank you. Thank
Well,
you for
thank
everything
you.
you do.
I truly, it's a joy and a privilege to be able to do what I do. I'm so grateful to be able to start diving into this field. I feel so lucky that my partner is also a therapist helping lives. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This has been such a, like, a cool experience, and like, I've been trying to not to fangirl this whole time because I am currently rewatching Station 19, and Bring It On was like my favorite movie growing up.
Oh
So
my
that's
God.
my little fangirl moment for just a moment. But no, truly, this has been such a great conversation.
No, it really has. And thank you. And I'm flattered that you are a fan of all of those things. It always feels good to hear
No,
that people at least like the work. But I'm glad that
very much so.
because of that work, I am able to have a platform where we can come on and talk about things like this. So that's
Yeah,
also, I'm
yeah.
grateful for all of it as well. And so happy to meet you.
It was great to meet
Best of
you.
luck. I wanted to make sure, is there anything I'm like looking? I think we covered everything. I think I've covered all the questions. Um,
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Best of luck with the rest of your school. It's going to be done, you
Thank
said
you.
this year, right? Is this
No,
final
I still
year?
got, I spring of 28 is when I'm currently
Oh,
scheduled
28.
to graduate. So yeah, I
Okay.
still got classes and practicum and internship, and also trying to work a full-time job on top of that and just exist in the world as it is. So we got some time, but we're making it work.
Well, remember to take care of yourself too in the midst of it all.
Don't worry, I am. I got two little kittens in the other room that are
I
waiting
was
for
like, I
me.
figured you have
That helps
no
a lot.
worries at all. Like,
Yeah.
well, great talking to you. I'm always like, this is the moment where I'm like, wait, how do I know there's a way. I want to say goodbye and hit the button, not do the weird
Yes.
like
You got
goodbye and
this.
then figure it out. Let's see. Hold on. I don't know how to say goodbye. Maybe it's just meant to be. We're like going to be
Who
stuck.
knows?
um, I'm just going to hang. Oh, wait, maybe that. No, that doesn't do anything. Nope, that just takes the video away. Okay, then we're just going to sign off like this. It was so
Beautiful.
great getting to talk to you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.